Let's go back to our earlier conversation about World Students' Day, commemorated in appreciation of the 11th president, the former president of India, Dr. Abdul Kalam's dedication to education. Let's speak to the Special Assistant to Delta State Governor on Student Affairs, Obaro Egagifo. Obaro, it's good to have you. Let's hope that the connection is much better now. I was going to I think I asked you then, let me repeat, the World Students' Day is domiciled in India. What's the relevance for the rest of the world?
All right, thank you very much. Good evening to you. Like you rightly said, I hope you can hear me very well.
Yes, I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Okay, good. You ask of the relevance of the World Student Day as it relates to our country, Nigeria. You know, the World Student Day is actually a day set aside to recognize the impact of students in our day-to-day living as a people. You know, it was actually first of all started in India in recognition of one of their former presidents. But for us, or for me, having been a former student leader and having been somebody that had been saddled with the responsibility to assist His Excellency on student affairs in Delta State, it is actually my belief that setting aside this day for students marks a great deal for those that are schooling in our country. If you look at the theme for this year, the theme says empowering students to be agents of change. When we talk about empowering students to be agents of change, we are talking about making students, those that are in the school age now, that are still schooling, to be that agent of change that could be change in their country, change in their state, change in wherever they find themselves in their career, in their field of endeavor. So for me, it's an important thing for those who are interested in the development of their young ones vis-a-vis those that are schooling and those that are still in the schooling age. So for me, it's an important thing, and it's an important day for the Nigeria students to celebrate as well.
I know we also have International Student Day. I think that is sometime in November. What is the contrast here, and how can these days push the conversation about improving education for the young?
Okay, yes. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes, there's actually an International Day for Students that takes place around November, if I'm right. But, you know, in all this, it is actually not a contrast, but it's more or less like a similarity. They both have a similar background, because looking at the day, you will see that it is a day that is set aside to mark studentship, to mark students who are still schooling in the forwards of institutions. It's a day that is meant to set aside to remember them of their role in the society. If you watch these days, if you look at this year's theme, you will see that it talks about engineering a society, students being agents of social change. Last year, what was talked about is even if you can, you should be able to do something different. But this year, we are talking about students being agents of social change. The theme recognizes the impact that the younger generation brings to the table. The theme for this year also recognizes the fact that there is no country that actually significantly developed without the impact of their younger ones. So the day, in its essence, is supposed to be set aside so that those that are in charge of our policy in government, and even those not in the government, stakeholders within this sphere, can realize the importance of that day and use it to speak to those who are still schooling. So it's relevant. It's not really in contrast, but for me, both days are supposed to be days that are set aside to talk about the issues that even concern students, issues that face our students in their classroom, issues that has to do with their safety, issue that has to do with how their curriculum are tailored, issue that has to do with the vices that happen in our campuses and all that. But for me, for any nation or a sub-nation that is actually interested in development, it is a day that is supposed to be taken very, very seriously. And I'm glad that so many people, and indeed, here in Delta, we gave cognizance to it as a day that is set aside for students.
Obaro, thank you for speaking with us.